child, being a skin can bring us so much pain. Now I hear you say, you got the best of both ways. Won't you come and take a walk in my shoes and tell me if you take my place? Undercover of my skin, I've heard all your names. If it's all the same, I'll keep on walking.
Welcome to episode 218 of the Inside Running Podcast, and Happy New Year to all our listeners. I hope 2022 is a year full of PBs and injury-free running. Brady's still on leave, so we have another guest joining Moose and I. I reached out to the Ingebrigtsens during the week, but none of them were available, so we hit up the next biggest name in Norwegian distance running. He's fresh off a 5k road PB and is currently training for the Seville Marathon, where he plans to beat Brady's PB. Welcome back to the Inside Running Podcast, Kristian Ulriksen, otherwise known as Kristian from Norway.
Yeah, thanks a lot. Been a while, and yeah, I'm big listening for the show. And I mean, the last episode with Luke Matthews is some really big shoes to fill today. So yeah, I had to go for a run this morning, and it was pretty much like preparing for an exam. And Julian will probably also be on the feet today. So I tried to come in prepared this time.
Yeah, so you're not joining us from Norway because you did your 5k race in Barcelona. So you're still in Barcelona?
Yeah, I'm still in Barcelona. Leaving today, going to Valencia. Gonna do a 10k road race next Sunday. So we'll stay there for six days doing the last preparation, and then we have the big 10k in Valencia.
Yeah, and obviously we'll talk about your 5k road PB during your weekly recap, but quite a unique experience being in an event where there's 2 world records broken.
Yeah, it was amazing. I mean, we have both been on the start line, or me and Julian, in 2018 when Kipchoge took down the world record in the marathon. And I was also in Copenhagen the day that Anglesea Roo Run ran 58:01. But it was something amazing with this race in Barcelona. I have to say that starting at 7 in nighttime, it was completely dark. You are not like a big pack of people, but still you are running the best roads in the city. And it was a lot of people out in the street as well. And when you are running in the dark, it's something about the feeling of racing in the dark. It brought back a lot of memories from the young days when I was a football player and playing in nighttime and in the highlights. So it was a good day out there.
And nice. Look forward to hearing about it. And welcome to our regular co-host and ex-coach of Kristian, Julian Spence. How are you, Moose?
Oh, thanks. Thanks for reminding me about the rogue athlete that I used to have.
Well, he's gone from strength to strength since he sacked you.
Well, I'm not sure. He's still battling away trying to break 15 minutes.
He's run a few PBs in the last year.
Yeah, he's you know why? He's a Norwegian living in Kenya. That's suspect. That is as dirty as it gets.
And you had a good win last week, Moose?
Oh yeah, I did actually. The unofficial Athletics Victoria World Championships down here at the Roo Run. It's quite a good win. Nice to be back racing, that's for sure. Probably not the prestigious event that I made it out to be, but in my own head, I built it up pretty big.
So, from weekly recap point of view, who would like to go first?
Oh, let's do Kristian. I want to hear it.
All right.
I want to hear it.
Got your Strava loaded, Kristian?
Yeah, I'm sorted out here. So, I mean, for me, the last, if we take things into context, for me, the last month, I mean, some of you guys, you think Norway is like Spain or something else. I mean, you're living in pretty much the dream country when it comes to running. It's sun every day, and you don't have any winter, and you don't realize what running on the treadmill 2 times a day can do with you. So after a long month of November with a lot of running on the treadmill, early in December, I went far north in Norway for a lot of work. And then I realized that I have been like training since 2017 for breaking 220. And finally my health is back to normal. I don't have any pain at all, and the shape is coming back. So I decided to just go 2 weeks to a small island outside of Africa, like a Spanish island. So just went there completely on my own, preparing like 2 weeks there before I went to Barcelona for the 5K and before the 10K in Valencia, and then I probably go back home to Norway again. But yeah, so the last week I was in the Canary Islands. It's outside of Africa, but it's still part of Spain. So the weather was pretty much like a normal day for Julian in Anglesea. Like everything is beautiful. You wake up, the only thing you want to do is train, and the motivation is super high. So yeah, it's not the worst week to come to the show with you guys, since I have nothing to complain about. But Monday was, I'm doing, I have to say that since Julian was coaching me in 2018, I mean, the best days back when Julian was coaching me was not so far away from where I'm now. So I try to tell myself that since I ran 2:22 in 2017 and the first time I met you guys in Berlin, I mean, it's over 4 years and I'm still struggling with the same. So if I'm going to continue this running journey, and I need to prove myself that I can run faster. So I have tried to do a couple of changes, and sometimes when I would not say depressed, but sometimes when I'm really down, I try to look back to also Julian wrote me a long email. Like, yeah. So sometimes I go back to that and to just, try to figure out where it all have been wrong. But I think.
Oh, did you have the email pinned up on your bedroom wall, do you?
It's almost like that. You have a picture of Musa and the email, so you know that people are watching you. But I started Monday on the Canary Islands and was 40 minutes 2 times, 4:41 and 4:11. And every time, this is one of the changes I have done also in the past. I have turned off all the information on my watch. Sometimes I run with the heart rate strap just for watching after, but the easy pace nowadays can be everything between, sometimes like 5:10 if I'm really sluggish, and sometimes can be down to like 4:10 also if I feel okay. But I'm done with watching, with having auto laps per kilometers and doing so much time watching the small details. We have a podcast show in Norway. We have interviewed a lot of really good ex-runners and also science people, and it's amazing when you hear about people in the 80s. They had no GPS, they had nothing at all, and they were still able to run 13:10 and 28 flat. So sometimes I'm thinking that we are destroying our own career with all the new equipments and think way too much about the stuff that in the end doesn't matter at all. So one of the things I've tried to be better at after the surgery is just taking easy pace as a feeling and forget about everything else. So the easy pace can depend from 5 minutes to maybe like 4:10 if I'm really good, but usually it's around 4:30 and it's a bit progressive. Maybe first kilometer out the door is 5 minutes and the last one is 4:20. And so double 40 minutes 2 times Monday. Tuesday I did 30 minutes moderate in the morning, a bit progressive, like started first kilometer 4:30 and finished the last 3:30, so average 3:55, and I felt okay. Since the race here in Barcelona was nighttime, I wanted to have the last session also nighttime, just for having the same rhythm. So it's no track on the Canary Islands, so I just went down to a harbor. So did 6 times 5 minutes with 30 seconds rest. Tried to run close to 5K pace, but not stressing too much about it. So I hit it pretty much okay. I had 3 minutes between, and then I did 4 times 60 seconds. Just ran on field, tried to go fast, but still able to relax, and then had 30 seconds between them, and then 3 minutes break again, and then 4 times 30 seconds. So I mean, the last part is probably just long strides, but just try to keep the frequency okay, and try to run fast, relaxed. For me, the journey of running have been the opposite of your journey. I mean, I started out with a big bet against my father to break 3 hours for the marathon, and I had absolutely no background from athletics. So to run 5K for under 15 minutes have been a big goal for a long time, but it hasn't been my cup of tea. It have been like I trained for the marathon, I tried to run fast in the marathon, and then I am completely destroyed for a long time. So this time and this year after I'm coming back from the surgery, I have tried to run more on the track and try to train more like a 16, 17-year-old boy and try to develop the other way around to have some speed coming back to the marathon.
Hey, Kristian, the double that you did in the morning, you got going. Is there a purpose to that?
Yeah, I mean, we have talked a lot about this on Strava, and you guys have gave it. Sometimes for me, if I just keep going, like I don't want to go really fast. Let's say I can run 2:21 now, and marathon pace is 3:21. So I'm not going super fast. I'm just going down to a effort that I feel is like. It's not really hard, but it's still getting my body going. And when I have a session in the afternoon, I feel so much better instead of just jogging. If I jog and do some strides, I feel okay. And if I jog really slow, I feel sometimes just more sluggish in the afternoon. So what I feel is if I do a little bit of something in the morning, I feel way better in the afternoon.
Yeah, is this something that happens in Norway? Is this or a European thing? Because I don't think we really do that here. It's a pretty rare thing to see if someone does like a little progression run as a shaker.
But I reckon, Moose, it's almost like, the Norwegians now are very much into their double session days. So it almost feels like a 1.5 session day instead of 2. Is that?
Oh, I don't know. I reckon he's just doing it to prep. You're just doing it to prep the body for the evening.
Yeah, but he's used to but you're used to doing double session days, aren't you, Kristian?
Yeah, I have done some of that in the past, but the double session day is a big thing in Norway, and it have been an on-off thing that have been going back in the early 2000s when you had Craig Mottram beating all the non-African people and tried to beat the African people. We had one guy in Norway called Marius Bakken. He was able to run 13:06. He had some amazing races. When I think he had, he was running with Mottram in a lot of races. There were probably only the 2 white guys you can see in some of the Diamonds League. And Marius, now he's a doctor, and he had a very scientific way to look at the training. And also if you go on Let's Run, you can see so many of the old threads there. He is giving away so much about his training and what he was doing and his coach was doing. That is what the Ingebrigtsen guys are doing now. The father of the Ingebrigtsen guy, he called Marius in the beginning of 2012, before the Olympic Games in London. The father, Jack, was calling Marius pretty much every day because Henrik was getting better and better, and they was talking like really details about training. And what they have done is just taken everything Marius did, with the treadmill, with the lactate measurement, with the double session, with no long runs, and they have put that into a system that's working for them. So, I mean, in Norway, sport is a big thing, and we have a lot of money, and people love to see their own nationalities are doing really well. But if you go in the running direction of pretty much all people in Norway are doing the same system. You don't have to ask the athlete what they are doing. You can just look at what day it is, and everybody know what everybody is doing.
So how often do you do double sessions every week? Is that part of the system?
The Ingebrigtsen guys are doing double session Tuesday, Thursday, and Saturday. They do no long runs. They do one run Sunday, that's 70 minutes, and that's it.
Double session means 2 workouts, like a threshold and a VO2 workout, or 2 thresholds, 2 speed workouts. Is that what you're trying to say?
Yeah, I mean, if you want to go this part, we can do that. It's for sure for me. I mean, I'm living with Sondre now, and he had the same coach that Marius had before, so I know a lot about this system. And we had Marius on the show here in Norway, and the interview was 2 hours long. And if that interview were in English, I have told the other guy, I mean, probably the whole world would listen to it, because that is what the Ingebrigtsen guys are doing. Every Tuesday morning, they run 6 times 6 minutes on the treadmill. They usually start like 5 to 10 seconds slower than marathon pace. And then they have a small progression ending the last rep. They do 5 times 6 minutes, so 30 minutes total with 1 minute rest. But the fastest they go in the morning is 1.8 millimole on the lactate measurement. And if you compare that to people like me and you, Julian, it's pretty much marathon pace or a little bit slower than marathon pace. You have to remember that people like Jakob is really efficient also. So for him to run at marathon pace it's very easy for him because he's a 1500 guy. He's not running long distance. So the session in the morning, if you go back into people like Munagetti, he will probably say, or Steve Jones. In the interview with Steve Jones, he's talking about he's running moderate pace almost every day. And it took him 10 years to develop the body that could handle this kind of training. If you look for numbers, what these guys were doing 40 years ago is pretty much the same. This is just very specific on the same treadmill, doing the same thing and measuring lactate every day. So they have all the data. And that is the approach Gjert have for everything. He's a guy that coming from a very systematic work background. He's putting everything in spreadsheets and he's working with his sons like this is some kind of computer system.
So the afternoon session then, is that similar intensity or a little bit harder? Because, that morning session it obviously isn't very taxing on those guys or really anybody. So what's the afternoon one look like?
They do the same session morning, Tuesday and Thursday. So the afternoon session on Tuesday is usually 20 to 25 times 400. They have 30 seconds rest. They start around 10K pace. And they never run faster than 5K. And during the winter, they usually stay around 10K pace. So for a guy like Julian, let's say he can run 30 minutes now, it's 72 seconds and it's 30 seconds rest.
Okay.
And when if you use the lactate measurement, and you have to remember that Jakob, probably Stewy also, these are probably the best guys in the world for running 400-meter repeats. Because if you can, for Stewy and Jakob, the 3K pace is around 59 seconds. So if they run at 5K pace, let's say they can run 12:40 or something. Let's say 61 seconds. So if they start around 65, 66 seconds and run with 30 seconds rest, it feels really easy for them, and the lactate is never higher than 3. Usually it's around 2.5. So what they are doing is building a really, really big base of training around the area where you can put in a lot of hours without getting so much lactic problems and so much mechanical problems. Because one of the biggest issues in the modern running in the top level is the load on the body. The mechanical problem when you have to run so fast. Usually it's not the heart that is the problem. It's the mechanical stuff around. So the injury risk when you are running, let's say 400-meter repeats, and you're running close to 1500-meter pace, the risk is really high for, a guy like Henrik has been on and off with injuries for 10 years, so he cannot do that kind of training.
So this is all in the winter you're talking about, this type of training? They're not... We have to realize when they are entering the race season, the training is not the same. You cannot put the training like Monday to Sunday because the date of the race are changing all the time. They are preparing for race. You can imagine a guy like Stewy. He's usually racing once a week. So then we are talking about something completely else. And they are, of course, mixing up stuff. But
but this is the winter schedule. They run around 180 kilometers. So they do 5 times 6 minutes in the morning, Tuesday and Thursday. And the Tuesday afternoon is 20 to 25 times 400. And the Thursday afternoon is 10 to 12 times 1K. And the 1K is the same. It's usually always around 10K pace and not faster. They can start around half marathon pace, but they never go faster than 10K pace.
And the idea is to keep the millimole at 2.5 or 3 or less than that.
Yeah, in the morning is to keep it under 2, and if you can keep it between 1.5 and 1.8, that is the best. And in the afternoon is keep it under 3, and if you can keep it around 2.5 is the best. And the Saturday they have something else. They do hill session in the morning. It's around 200 meters. It's not very steep. If you measure only on time, it's like between 30 and 34 seconds, and they jog down. They do 10 times, then they have 5 minutes rest, and then they go 5 times again. And then 10 times, and then 5 minutes rest, and then they go 10 times again. So total is 20 reps, and they usually have around 5 millimole after the first 10, and they go even harder the last 10. Sometimes Jakob can have over 10 in lactate after the 20th rep. And what they are doing there is pretty much that they want to run fast, and 200 meters or 30 seconds is also a good amount that you're able to keep the cadence high and you can still run relaxed. But what they are doing is they're taking it to a hill because of the mechanical problem with running so fast completely flat.
Yeah, so they're not getting as many niggles because it's less load going up a hill.
Yeah, but the hill is not very steep. If I could guess, the hill also depends. These guys have families now. All the other Jakob don't have any kids, but Philip and Henrik have. So usually they are a lot. They are pretty much 5 weeks on a training camp, and usually 2-3 weeks home, and then they go again. So the hill that they are running in will depends where they stay, but usually I will say it's like 5% degree. If you put the treadmill on 5% and you go hard for 30 seconds, but since they are jogging down, it's some kind of continuously work also. They don't stop. They only stop in the break between the first 10 and the last 10.
So that's really their only real quality session for the week, and even then, because of the recovery, it's not too bad.
No, but if you look at the numbers and you put everything together, you can see that 2 times 5 times 6 minutes and 2 sessions, and this hill session is around, let's say 50 kilometers of quality training, and the 120, 130 kilometers, except from this session, is what Gjert is calling jogging or just recovery. These guys, of course, they run fast for easy pace, but they don't look at the easy training as the easy running as training. They only do it in the purpose of building mileage. But the real training is Tuesday, Thursday, and Saturday.
Well, we might as well finish this off and ask about their long run.
Yeah, the long run is never, and this is real. We had Jakob on the show as well. Jakob have never ever run longer than 21 kilometers in his life. Not one single time have he done anything crazy like a trail race or nothing at all. So what they do is usually 70 minutes or 75 minutes, and they run 20 kilometers. And usually Jakob want to do the Sunday run on his own because he feels shit after Saturday, and he hates to run with other guys when he feels shit. So he's usually just going on his own, and the pace is pretty much, he starts around 4 minutes. If he's really sluggy, he can start slower, and he finish off around 3:30 to 3:20. But usually the average pace is around 3:40, and it's 20 kilometers.
Righto, a bit different to what we do over here.
Yeah, it's many ways to skin a cat, and you can imagine if we were taking this training and we compare it to a training of Stewy McSweyn, that is probably doing almost similar training what Mottram is doing. It's 2 completely different worlds, and what we see is pretty much the same result. So, that is one of the things that is really interesting in Norway, is that everybody is doing the same now, except from people that are old or do some other kind of running. But if you ask a 16-year-old boy now that want to try to be a good athlete, he's doing the same system. So, and all coaches also believe in this. And for me, that is completely nonsense. I cannot believe that people think that one system can work for all people. It doesn't matter what kind of skill you have. For me, that is, I cannot believe that people want to do it, but that is the reality.
I think the takeaway from me is that, like, they obviously do a lot of like steady state running. Like, they, sounds like they get rolling a little bit even on their recovery days, and obviously their long run is still like up tempo compared to your traditional long runs. But they don't go to the well in training, which I think you look at a lot of the top runners throughout history, they've always just been consistent without really nailing themselves in training. And that seems to be what these guys do as well.
Yeah, the pretty safe sort of stuff. You've got to keep an eye on it, though. It'd be hard for someone who doesn't understand that to give or to go out and try to run these 6-minute reps at that kind of gentle intensity. I just can't see a lot of the runners in Australia being able to do that.
Yeah, the big takeaway is I tried this system in 2016 for 3 months when I had a full job. And the thing that you can take away from this is, if you go this direction, then you have to realize that if you go too hard too often, the damage is not the first week. But after 4 or 5 weeks, you are totally drained. You need 2-3 weeks just with recovery and jogging to get the energy level back. So if you go this direction, you have to realize that, for me or for you, Julian, that comes from a completely other part of sport. If you told me that I will run intervals with this intensity when I started to run, I will tell you, this is not training. This is moderate stuff. This has nothing to do with training. Give me something that I can build the engine on. That would be my first thought to you. And after 4 weeks with training too hard, too often, I will come back to you and say that, man, I am dead now.
Yeah.
I think the other thing to take away from this as well is, like, you often just look at what the top guys are doing in their prime. But you got to remember that Jakob's been has been training since he was like 10 or whatever, and wouldn't have been doing these exact sessions when he was 10. So he's slowly adapted to the point that his body can actually handle this style of training, where so many people will now go, oh, this is what those guys do, so I'm going to change now from my 2 sessions a week to do this. And that's a massive change, whereas those guys have just like slowly built up to this.
Yeah, and you also have to realize that Henrik was 5th in the Olympic Games in 2012. So we are talking about 10 years ago. So you can imagine the experience that Henrik and also Philip have. So when Jakob is starting to training, it's not like they don't know what will happen. They can tell him, if you do this, this will happen. And Henrik have been, I don't know how many surgeries Henrik have done. Let's say 5-6 surgeries. And he have never, for me, it's a bit with Henrik the same like Ryan Gregson. You can talk about shoes, but the fact is that these guys, they run faster 10 years ago. So then you can ask yourself, what have they done for training for 10 years? They have not become better. And sometimes what they have done is that they have trained too hard too often. And Henrik have tried way too many times to close the gap to Philip and Jakob in a short period of time, and he had to pay the price. And this time he paid the price 1 month before Olympic Games and had to go for a new surgery. So the thing with Jakob is, this is a family it's something else than everybody can. You have to realize every single day you are waking up, you pretty much know what to do. You have so much trust inside in the family. Yet have all the data on everything. And of course, Jakob had some problems, he also, but the progression have been just step by step every single year. And what people in Norway is like asking me now is, how good can Jakob be? Can he break the world record? What is next for him? Because the level he's coming to now, this is the level that some people have come before. The next level is only for 2, 3, 4 guys in the world ever.
And so last question on their sort of training from me. So you spoke about their sort of base training. I read somewhere or saw something that then coming into like race season, they're big on doing like 300 meter reps at 1500 meter race pace.
Yeah, I cannot. I mean, if I knew everything, I would talk about everything. The only reason I say that I don't want to talk is because I don't know 100%. And what they have done with the training the last 3-4 years is the part from early April and through the summer. They have a way better system now than Henrik had in the early days. Now they are hitting the races in a better shape. They are better prepared for the race season than earlier. Earlier, Henrik had to race himself into race pace. Now it seems like they are doing stuff in training starting in April that leading into the races make them ready when the races arrive. They don't need races to race. They only need to do the training. And they have so much history now that what I know they are doing is they have one staple session that is 5 times 1K with 2 minutes recovery. They start around, let's say, 10K pace, and they work themselves down to 3K pace. So for Jakob is running the last K in maybe, let's say 2:30 or a little bit faster. And then they have a break, and then they do 10 times 300 meter. And then we are talking about 1500 meter pace for the 300 meters. That is one session I know. And I know they also have the other session that is 10 to 15 times 300. But the 300 only session is more like a session you have in between Diamond League races. It's like you have 7 days, what we do in between. We have one session, very race specific. They run behind a bike and they try to hit the pace and to have a good rhythm. But what they are doing in between, Gert is not willing to talk about, and it's like that is the part we still have as a secret. And how much secret it is, I don't know. I mean, if you go to St. Moritz like Julian did, you can see what they are doing. It's not like they are hiding.
It is true. You see them out there not saying hello.
All right.
If they knew the story about you, they will probably say hello, because the honest answer is all the guys are really good guys, and you could really. It's no problem to connect with them, and Jakob is also really open-minded. He had a big interview after Olympic Games. He said the only reason he was running was to beat other people, and he hates to train, and he don't know how many years he wanted to continue with this kind of lifestyle, because it's not easy. I don't think we can see Jakob running in 10 years from now. If he can do something really crazy, maybe he can win the next Olympic in Paris for the 5K, and maybe he can run some crazy times, maybe can have all the European records, maybe can have one world record. I think he will quit the sport from a young age. We had one guy winning the Olympic Games in 1996, the 800 meter, Vebjørn Rodal. He pretty much did the same. He had 1 or 2 years running after the Olympic Games, and then he was done. The body was not able to come back, and the motivation was not there. So I don't think we can see a career like you had with guys like Monagetti and people like that. I don't think we can see that with Jakob. And Jakob running really long distance, I can maybe see him going one time for the half marathon if it's really big money, but I cannot see Jakob running marathon and to stay in the sport for 10, 15 more years. I don't think so.
Interesting.
All right, should we get back to your week?
Jeez, we made it.
We're up to Wednesday.
We made it to Tuesday. So what I have figured out in the past is also if I do the last session and I have 72 hours to the race, not 48, but 72, I always feel way better. So the 2 last days is only 30 minutes of jogging and easy running, and I do strides after all the runs. So it's 30 minutes, and it's 4:23, 4:10, 4:17, 4:18. So I traveled to Barcelona Wednesday night, ran 30 minutes 2 times Tuesday, did 20 minutes in the morning on Friday and some strides, and then the race went on at 7 in the afternoon or night time at the New Year's Eve. So it was Friday. And the race here in Barcelona is the 5K is international invitational race, but it's not like top class. You can maybe find 5, 6, 7 good guys. And of course was one really good guy that wanted to break the world record. And then you have local Spanish people, and you have some okay 5K runners. One guy named Mike Foppen, he was he run like 13:10. I think he finished the good race that McDonald had when they ran in Nice. Luke was talking about that last week. Foppen was also the guy that was running to the finish line with McDonald. So he was here. One Spanish guy, that Carlos Mayo, and some other guys. But it was 2 people that wanted to break the world record, and a lot of people that wanted a nice 5K race in a nice city. So maybe we was 50 people on the start line. I knew one Swedish girl named Meret Balta. She got second in the European cross country after Grövdal, the Norwegian girls. So I knew the shape was probably around my shape. She had one Spanish guy that was a 14 flat guy as a pacemaker. So we went away, and the first when you run in big cities, the GPS is completely nonsense. So what you do is you just have the time on the watch, you turn off everything, and you look at the kilometer marks on the road. So the first kilometer was 2:56. It was I felt, to be honest, I felt good. We were running 4 people in a pack. The 2K split was 5:54, and then it slowed a little bit down. The Swedish girl was breathing really heavily, so we hit the 3K in 9 minutes flat, and then me and 2 other guys just went away. So the last 2K we were running together, and in the end they sprinted me down. But for me, this was like just break 15 minutes, and whatever is it's just a bonus. So if I can say something that I don't want to be too hard on myself, but it feels like I can run a little bit faster, and if I had the race again, I will probably escape from the Swedish girl after 2K. But I mean, it is what it is, and it was a good race to have in the bank 9 days before the 10K in Valencia as well. And it's days like that really makes me go out in the morning and do this training. I mean, I have lived the last 8 months with Sondre Moen. I know that whatever I do in running, I will never be very good. But races in the dark in Barcelona like this Fridays is the only reason why I'm running. So I want to do more of this kind of stuff, and I just hope that we can continue with traveling.
Good pacing, Kristian. Because I remember a few races last season, you had some pretty bad sort of positive splits, whereas this looks like you paced this one really well.
I can tell you, I have learned the hard way. Moose knows everything about this, and if you think that Brady is stupid, just remember that every time you are killing Brady on this show, people like me and a lot of other guys, we are listening. We are learning the hard way, and I am done. I mean, one thing is to destroy yourself in a local race in Norway, but I am done with traveling the world for destroying my race, the first part of the race. Running is an easy sport, and if you understand how to pace yourself, it's amazing how fast you can run the last 1 or 2 kilometers, and on the track it's amazing how fast you can go the last 2 laps. I had probably the best race of this season. I was able to break 15 minutes on the track. I ran 14:55, and I think I had the last lap was like 67 low or something in that race also. So I know what to do now. The hard part is just to execute the plan.
Kristian, this is a point-to-point course. Is that legal?
Yeah, of course, since it was the world record, they have done everything correct.
Don't know. Downhill?
Downhill and headwind or tailwind. Yeah, of course it's a legal course, but I don't know the rules. But you can have 1 meter of elevation per kilometer. So in a 5K, you can have 5 meter down here. And you can have so many, I don't know how many meters you can have in airline between the start and the finish. But this is probably because of traffic and probably because of they want to take like all the small margins out. But since they ran the world record, both the men and the women, I mean, of course the course is correct. And on Strava, you see every time you run big races on Strava also. I had 5.08 or something on the GPS, and then you also know that the course is correct. Because if you do road races and you have like 4.9 or 5 flat, then you know the course is too short. The GPS in these cities is never accurate.
One last question. Did you celebrate as you crossed the line? Like, did you point to the sky or did you do anything like that?
No, not this time. This race was not that important. It was a good race. I was happy with myself, but the next race this Sunday will be something else. If I can run a little bit under 31 minutes, let's say 30:50 to 30:40, and I can run with Grøvdal, then maybe I will celebrate. But to be honest, Moose, I don't celebrate too often. I had the race in 2017 in Berlin when I ran 2:22:30, and I had won the 5K on the track when I broke 15 minutes. Except from that, I'm usually never happy with myself, and to be honest, I have way higher expectations for myself than running 15 minutes for a 5K.
Yeah, good. I like that, Kristian. We'll save it till the 2:20 next time, all right?
Yeah. It's all about the Sevilla Marathon, the 20th of February. Hopefully we can break the 2:20 there.
Yeah.
So if you break 2:20, then Brady's PB is in danger.
I don't know what to say about Brady and the marathon. Maybe you should just cut him and tell him the marathon is not for you. Because if I compare what he is doing in training and his results in the marathon, he should run 2:15.
I agree.
But maybe he's racing every single session. I don't know what they are doing in Mohamad. I want to go to Australia to watch how stupid Brady really is. But
strange place out there.
I don't feel so bad about what I said after Melbourne now, after Kristian just comes on and tears him to shreds.
Yeah, but remember this. I met Brady and Josh Harris, the real legend, in 2016 in Berlin. We were running in old shoes. Brady wanted to break 2:20 in old shoes 5-6 years ago. And we are still talking about the same. So I don't know if the marathon is not made for him or if he's training too hard. I don't know what to say. But for me, looking at his training and think that this is a guy that I can beat in a marathon, yeah, it's nonsense. One of us is doing something completely wrong. I tell you that.
Could be in the head, I reckon, Kristian. Maybe he doesn't have a head for it.
Yeah, maybe he's too soft. I don't know. When you're talking about going really deep on yourself, I don't know if Brady have that kind of mentality, or if his body is not suited for marathon. Sondre have a really good friend that's called Sufyan Bulshiki. He have run 27:45 for the 10K. He's a 13:10 guy for the 5,000 meter. He have tried to go up to the marathon now for 2 years, and he cannot break 2:12. I mean, 2:12 should be jogging pace, but some people, they don't have the body for handling 2 hours with running.
Yeah, that's a good point.
Brady's going to hate this chat.
I actually think it's the too soft thing.
I reckon part of it. I reckon part of it's where he lives. There's no hills, and I reckon maybe there's some GPS error in Echuca Moama.
No, but he's got the 28, 29, whatever on the board for his 10Ks. He's shown he can run.
Yeah.
I tell you, if I break 30 minutes for 10K, I run 2:16.
Yeah. Well, yeah.
So, I mean, Brady is a legend, and I love his passion. And without him, it will have been no inside running. We probably will not have the podcast in Norway. The inside jogging guys will probably be just strange people from England watching football or something nonsense. And Brady have done a good job, but what he is doing with himself for the marathon is unbelievable.
Yeah, he's a good podcaster, but a shit marathoner, Kristian.
I don't know. I want to break 220 before I say something more about him. But let's hope for the best. He had a second kid. Maybe he can slow down. Maybe he can put life in perspective. Maybe he realized that he have to listen to you two guys or find somebody else. I don't know what's the solution, but he need to do something. And when he's doing the lead-up training for the marathon, he's doing sessions that is harder than the race, and he's still able to knock down those sessions. So, I don't know.
Very good. How'd you round out your week? Because that was New Year's Eve. So what did you do on New Year's Day and on the Sunday?
I had 2 times 40 minutes the Saturday, the day after, just jogging, 4:37, and really slow. And on Sunday I went out. I wanted to do around 2 hours. Since I have the marathon in 7 weeks, I wanted to have a long run. So I went out to a river, and the first it's pretty flat, of course, since it's close to a river, but on the way up, it was really hard tailwind coming down to the sea, and I was running on some kind of dirt road or single trail. So the first hour was 4:40 average, and then I turned around and had tailwind and was also running on a bike path. So the last hour was probably around 4 minutes flat, and I was running a little bit faster the last 20 minutes. So I did 30K and had 137K for the weeks, and the legs was really good. I mean, it's amazing what you can do in races with the new shoes. You feel something in the lungs and the heart, but the legs are all fine now. So this week I try to run around 110, maybe 120 kilometers, and the last 2 days leading into the Valencia 10K will be the same as this. I do the last session Thursday, and I have Friday and Saturday just 30 minutes and strides, and then I hope to break 31. Maybe I can run with Gravdal. I don't know how fast she will go in the beginning, but that 10K race is in the morning in Valencia, and if it's one city in the world you want to visit for running, it's Valencia. I have hard to find any better place for running activity than that city.
All right, mate, I'll let you come up for some air, and we'll throw to Moose. I thought Moose's weeks were long, but Moose, can you top that week?
Oh, well, mate, I had a win, so buckle up. If you need to go and put the tea on or something.
We'll be at 2 hours after 2 weekly recaps.
See, Kristian came like 20th. I won, so mine's going to go for ages.
All right, Moose, tell us about your week.
Well, it started with a race, obviously. So the Roo Run was on. It's the Anglesea Fun Run, raising money for the yacht club. So the yacht club just did a reno, and I'm not sure they put the fun run on, and so we try to support it. Obviously, footy club gets down there, all that sort of stuff. So I ran a warm up with a couple of the guys down there. Pete Kerr was down there, Jimmy Friend, Jordan, just a few of us, and Benny Ludbrook was he works in our store. He was sort of the main competition, I thought, for the race.
Is that Whiskey Boy?
Young up and comer, bloke who doesn't know anything about whiskey, wasting my money. And so the course is tough. It's really tough, actually. It goes up and over a big hill in town, and then it heads onto the beach. So you're running in the soft sand for a section. Then you have to run actually through a bit of a river. Like you probably, I reckon I was like mid shin deep. And then we come out onto the river, which is flat. So like the river path, which is concrete for about or 800 meters, and then hook through the caravan park back onto the beach for 500, and then back up the big hill. So it was pretty tough. I think it was good for me because it wasn't very fast, and I didn't have to match pace, like a 3-minute pace at any real point.
Bit of old man strength course.
Yeah, it's exactly what it was. So Pete Kerr, it sort of took the pace early, and then we hit the hill. There was just 3 of us in the pack, Ben, Pete and I, and up the hill. I knew the course really well, so I went to the front of the group because there are a lot of twisty, turny sort of like tight corners, and there's room for 2 people, but not at that pace with those corners. So it's sort of one person, like single file. So I wanted to get to the front just so I could have a clear line at the track. So we got to the top of the hill. Then I ran down in front, and we hit the beach, and all of a sudden the other 2 were sort of swamped around me. And along the beach was pretty windy down there, and then I started to feel like shit. So that was probably at about the 3K mark. And the other guys ran in front for a bit. And then once we got up onto the river, probably about 4K, Ben, he surged a little bit, and I reckon he ran probably about a 3:05K at that point. And it felt a little fast for me. So I let it go initially, and Pete was behind me. I knew he wasn't very fit. And I thought, oh, well, Ben, if he's going to pull out a few of the Ks like this, then that's me gone. But he did slow up, and he allowed us to get back on. And then we ran together for the next however long, right until the bottom of the hill that went back up. And if you click into the run, it's a fairly decent climb. So you start on the bottom of the hill at that point, it's like 0 meters or 1 meter elevation, and you run to the top, which is 56 meters. So you're running up like 55 meters in about 500 meters. So it's a steep climb. And at the very top, Ben and I were together. Pete dropped off, and I knew I had to get to the front because we went back on like the single track again. And if you're behind, there's really no way to pass until the very end. So I wanted to get to the top in front, and I managed to do that in the last like 10 meters of the climb. Then I got onto the trail, and it's a downhill after that. And I knew the course really well because this is where I jog like most days. So I was able to get a little bit of a lead on the trail. This is purely through just me knowing the corners coming up and how fast I could go into them. And Ben not knowing anything about them, he had to brake a lot. And so I got to the beach for the last maybe 400 meters, and that's when I looked around, and I probably had maybe 10 seconds on him. So I knew I had him at that point. And so yeah, I actually it was a winning race. So back on top, baby, but it wasn't very fast. 3:32, and on this route, I reckon in the past I've run 3:17s twice before. So I've run 24:21 here, and in this race I ran 26:37. So not a very fast day.
gave the heart a good workout. Did you wear? Was that heart rate strap?
Yeah, I wore a strap too. So I wanted to get the data from it because I don't think I've found my max before, and I definitely found my max. I don't think it shows
180. 188. I saw it. 189. I saw it the highest.
Yeah, 189. That's the highest my heart rate's ever been. So it's fun to learn that. And I mean, that was an unfit race. I was lucky to beat Ben, but Ben's a bit younger. I told him afterwards, like, if he had kept that surge going along the river for probably another 3 minutes, that was Pete and I both gone, and he probably could have jogged it in to win, but he didn't quite have the confidence to keep going, and he bailed out of that move, and he allowed us back in it. And then on the hill, yeah, just probably just the old man legs got over him. So yeah, that was the first run.
The one picture you got up on Strava, Julian, when you have the 5 meter gap down to the other guy, I guess it's Ben. Is that on the last part of the race, or is it early on?
Yeah, that's at the very end, actually. So that's the little gap that I made before we hit the beach. And that little hill, so that hill kind of spent him. That's at the top of a little rise, and that's where he fell off right there. I didn't want to get into – he's like a little 3K, 5K guy. I didn't want to get into a sprint with him at the end, so I knew I had to make my move well before we got to the beach. And so I luckily got a gap.
Is this the kind of surface you are running on every day down there in Anglesea?
Yeah, pretty much. Those dirt trails.
It's unbelievable the life you're living down there.
Have a listen to him.
Yeah. The guy that travels.
Tell me when you're opening the borders.
The guy that travels the world and like just lives the life of an elite athlete.
Exactly. Where are you now? Puerto Rico or something? Like I hear about that on movies only.
It's funny though.
Yeah.
Hey, Kristian, honestly, it's funny the perspective though, because about a month ago, I'd open up your Strava and you'd be whinging every day about the weather, and it was leading up to Christmas. Like, do you know how many Aussies would kill for like a white Christmas? And so, like, we look at that going, oh, how good would that be at this time of year to have a Christmas over in a country like that? And you're like just hating it, wanting to be over here. So I guess it's the old, grass is always greener.
Yeah, but I know where the grass is greener. The problem is the border. When is the border in Australia opening up again?
Mate, the real runners are here. We got Susan Crummins here, Charlotte Purdue.
Yeah, so what I need to do is I need to pay Nick Bideau and then I can come down.
There you go. Yeah. That's an idea. You could join the squad. You could be the new assistant coach.
Boy.
You could pace.
I have a lot of experience.
You could pace the women. There you go.
Yeah, that's your job.
I'm too old now. Not fast enough.
You could bring Sondre over, and then all of a sudden there's a 2-5 guy in the group.
I don't know. Keep going with your week.
All right.
Nick is a legend. You should have him in Australia.
Yeah. Next day I went out for a jog, 8.4K. I ran that with Benny, who's the 14-minute guy down here, 14 flat man. So he's getting back to it. Oh, if you didn't notice this week, actually, I did a few paddles. I'm not sure whether you want to discuss the paddles or not, but I got quite sore from it. It's going to build up a good back strength, but it's not going to contribute to running well. So I'm going to have to put them on the back burner.
The only thing I saw that was sore were your nipples.
Oh, they've crusted up now, and they're about to like peel off. Yeah, you wouldn't know, Kristian, but when you paddle a board like this, the second time that I went out, I decided to go without my wetsuit top, and just the friction on the board, intense pain. The shower afterwards, I was just like screaming.
But one thing I have to tell you guys is that the period you people are going off Strava. I mean, sometimes people need to have, time off social media and stuff like that. But you also have to realize that when you have started this podcast, you have some kind of responsibility for keep going. So when you are escaping from Strava, you are letting a lot of people down. So stop doing that and keep bringing up what you are doing.
Kristian, the real listeners hear it.
You, Julian.
The real listeners tune in and listen and hear.
Who invited this bloke, Moose?
Yeah. Slagging off everyone. Slagging off our marathoners.
It's not about the show. People are listening to the show anyway. But it's something about getting the update every day to keep the motivation going. We cannot have motivation every Monday. We need motivation every day.
No one needs to see my bike sessions.
Yeah, I'm back on, Kristian. I'm back on.
Yeah. I can see, and your Strava is back on, so I'm really happy.
It's back on, and it's unimpressive as ever.
Yeah, that's the best part. It's when it's unimpressive, it's good.
Yeah, well, I'm running slow. Like, I got sore after that race. Sore ankles from all the turns and the trails and the soft sand, and sore hammies from the hills, and sore calf at the end just from running fast. And so I pulled up rough, so I was just jogging double the next day, 30 minutes and 60 minutes in the afternoon. And then, 30 minutes and, just one run, 30 minutes the next day. And then the next day I did 60, and I was going to do a race, the Dawnbusters, but I was too sore. So I bailed out of that run and just ran easy. I ran easy the day before, just an hour with a group. We had a bit of a group down here, which was fun. And the next day I did a workout. So I went down to Aries Inlet, and I did some heart rate running. So this was quite hot, actually. I think this fucked me a bit, this heat. So I did 3 by 7 minutes at what my threshold heart rate is, and then 2 minutes jog, 1 minute hard, 1 minute jog. Then I just jumped in with Simone, who was doing her workout. She had some 200s to do, and so I just jumped in with her at the end for them. But I found like my heart rate got up really quickly. I also had Jordan, who has a real low running IQ, and he started the race with the workout with me, and he just sprinted from the line, and he kind of fucked my first rep because I went too hard too early. I didn't build into the workout, and you're in trouble when you reach your threshold heart rate like 2 to 3 minutes into the rep instead of 6 to 7 minutes in. That's a sign that you've gone too hard, and that comes back to haunt you later in the rep or later in the session, and that's what it actually did that to me. So I think it got a bit hotter as well, and it's good to have the heart rate on here because in the past I reckon I would have run this and I would have seen the paces that I was pushing. So the first rep was 3:23 and then 3:07 for the 1 minute, and then the next one was 3:39. Now that's really slow compared to the first rep, but that's where my heart rate was at for that, and so that's all that really matters at that point. And it was good to just have heart rate showing, so it didn't really matter how slow I was going. And then I ran 2:53 for the on and 3:31 for the last 7 minutes. Now I actually finished this workout and I was like, I felt really smooth on the tempo reps, even though they were kind of slow. I felt good, and so that's maybe a bit of a sign of growth that I've not really caring about the paces, but more about how I feel during the workout, because I did feel good, even though my heart rate was high and it was slow, like my rhythm felt good. So that was the workout done. And then I had a good long run actually on Sunday. Well, not a good long run, but a hard long run. So on Sunday, met a few of the Surf Coast guys, Matt and Damo, Jordan, and then Caitlin Adams and Lockie Scott, who's Caitlin's partner. They were over in Lorne, and so they met us for this long run. And I had 2 hours on the card, so made a bit of a loop and probably underestimated how hot it was going to be. And so ran uphill for however long, probably about, I'd say maybe an hour of uphill running, and then downhill for an hour. And by the time I got to the top of the hill, I was a bit cooked. And then at 90 minutes, I'm like, I could really do with a drink right about now. And then the last 30 minutes, I was fucked. I was proper fucked. And it was kind of embarrassing because I had a guest there, Lockie, who was running with me, and he was taking it real easy. He was trying to talk to me, have conversations, and all I wanted to do was get to the end. And I was looking at my watch every minute, counting the minutes down. And I think this was just me really overestimating my fitness at this point and not understanding what a 28K run over hills will do to an unfit person, and the lack of mileage just coming into effect. And yeah,
I love how the day before you're like, I was really happy with this because I reckon it showed a bit more maturity, and then a day later, it didn't show much maturity.
Nah, and it says 4:17. I was not feeling like it was not feeling smooth this day. It's just up and down, and we'll see how we come off that. That'll take a few days to recover. But I did enter Mount de Surf, which is this coming week, Friday. So I need to recover in time for that race because that's 7.5K down in Lorne. Hilly little race, kind of like Roo Run, but with a much better field.
Very good.
Yep.
All right, I'll whip through mine. It's all cross training. I did 8.5.
Skip it then. Skip it.
8.5 hours in total on the bike throughout the week. So Monday was a bit of an interval session. I did 2 4-minute efforts, 2 3-minute efforts, 2 2s and 2 1s, all with a minute easy between. Managed to get the heart rate up into like mid to high 160s for those reps. So it felt like it was a pretty solid workout. And then the next day just did like an easy 70 minutes, sort of like all my easy rides. I'm sort of averaging in the 130s. Wednesday I did like a 25-minute tempo. So it would have been like a 70-minute ride in total. Averaged about mid 150s for the 25 minutes on the bike. Thursday, another 65 minutes, 130 average heart rate. Then sort of just did like a comfortably hard ride on the Friday, 70 minutes, average 144. Definitely by Friday, started to feel like I was just getting a bit stronger on the bike. Felt like I was just pushing a few more watts. And then Saturday, just another 65 minutes. And then yesterday was my longer ride, so I did an hour 40, which, look, I've been enjoying the riding. Some people have been messaging me saying, "Oh, I don't know how the hell you like can go there every day and ride on the bike. It does my head in." But like the gym has Wi-Fi, so I take my iPad with me and I'll watch like stuff on YouTube that I would watch when I'm at home anyway, or listen to a podcast, or like one of the days I watched that AA coaches thing that you did, Moose. And I find the time goes so quick, especially like you just have your heart rate strap on, sit at 130s, and in terms of my body, one thing I've noticed, like not running much the last 3 weeks, like I can get out of bed now, like my Achilles aren't stiff at all. Because I can't remember the last, I reckon it would have been just before Berlin 2017 was the last time I had this much time off, like not running at all, like, big blocks. And like my body's feeling pretty good in terms of like Achilles, and I reckon I'll be right to start jogging by the end of this week. Like it feels pretty good now, but I'm just going to just give it a bit more time, because I just don't want to, like, knowing how calves are susceptible to just restraining again, I don't want to get into this cycle of run for half an hour one day and then manage 10 minutes the next and then have another 2 weeks off. So if I wait till Saturday, that'll be 2 weeks since my last 20-minute run, and it'll be about 4 weeks since I first did the injury. So that was my week, 8.5 hours on the bike. But,
You're doing some strength work for the calf?
Yeah, I've started doing a little bit more now. And I can do now, like I can hop on it, and I think I did 40 hops this afternoon and didn't feel anything at all. Like single leg calf raises I can do with no pain. Bent knee calf raises I can do without any pain. So I think I'm almost there. I just want to give it a little bit more time. No need to rush back.
Yeah, that's pretty smart from you.
Yeah. So, all right, let's thank some patrons. Do you want to go first, Kristian? You got the purple.
Yeah, I got the Chris Lawrence guy.
Yep.
Yeah. So, I mean, you guys should thank Chris Lawrence, and I'm thanking him as well. Without people in the patrons, Julian would have been long gone for ages. We all know that running is a bit more for him about the money and the rest of us. But thanks to Chris Lawrence, and the progressing in the training have also been amazing. And Brady, I put up some really good stats here. He's breaking 3 hours for the marathon. That's a big win for us all. And the Endorphin Pro, to be honest, the shoes he was wearing, to be honest, is the best training shoes I have ever tried before. For training, for me, that's the best shoe I can find. So he's wearing some really good shoes as well.
For jogging?
Yeah.
For jogging?
No, so he wore...
for racing.
So, Kristian, you butchered this. Put all these details in and you don't even mention them. He ran 2:56:30 at last year's Canberra Marathon, and he was wearing the Endorphin Pros and the green Nike Inside Running singlet. There was a photo of him doing that. So that's where Kristian got the Endorphin Pros from
the race.
Yeah.
Then I understand. Okay. Yeah, and it was a bit quiet after Canberra, but has come back to a good, consistent build-up since the start of November. So people in Australia, they also realize that consistency is the key. So keep keep working, Chris, and thanks for bringing up the show every week.
Yeah, you look at his Strava, and like since November, it just looks like a staircase. He's added like 6 kilometers every single week, basically. So he's gone from 26k, and now he's up to 70. So thanks, Chris. All right, Moose, who you got?
I have Ryan Dixon. So Dixon is from Auckland, New Zealand. Dixon's run 5 kilometres, 1943 time trial. Eek, don't know about that, Dixon. 10K, 41.43 was run when he ran his half marathon PB of 92.30. Okay, so we're taking not a lot of credible results here. We'll take his half though, which was 92.30 at 2021 Taupo half marathon. Yeah. Looks like he blew up a little bit. 3:53 2020 Auckland Marathon. I reckon, oh man, you're running under 20, but you're running 3:57 for the marathon. There's work to do there, Dixon. Training for sub 3:30 at this year's Auckland Marathon. Yep, I reckon that's a good goal, which is happening on the 23rd of Jan. One day, there's it. Really? January?
Yeah, because it got postponed last year, so they've moved it to January.
Oh, we should stay at January. I reckon you get heaps of Aussies going over.
Yeah, I agree. Yep.
Maybe we should write him a letter. We wonder if he's related to Dixon.
Yeah, the Dixon.
The Dixon. And surely he is related to the Dixon.
Yeah,
hey, Kristian, just a question. What did you think of the interview with Dixon?
It's amazing. It's really good, of course. It's you have some of the interviews you have on your podcast is the best interviews for running that have been ever created. If I had to pick one, it's maybe the one with, I don't know, the one with Steve Jones is something insane, but the one with Sean Crichton, I think for me the Crichton interview is the best interview I have ever listening to when it comes to running. It's something also about the way Crokes is talking with Sean. You can, it's two good friends, and you can. Sean really wants to bring all his knowledge to Crokes, but I don't know if it's able to do it.
Thanks, Kristian.
You do like that. No, I think Kristian just had a crack at you. Actually,
I know, but he enjoyed the interview that I did. So I look at the positives, Moose.
Yeah.
But he's worn those 2 interviews out, so nobody can listen to them anymore. Worn out.
That's why our numbers are high on those ones.
I have 100 on each of them.
All right, I'm going to thank Ainsley Pook. Ainsley's from West Footscray in Victoria. Has a 5K estimated best of 21.42, which was done around Princess Park. Also has a 10K estimated best of 44.43, which he did during the 2021 Great Ocean Road Half Marathon. His half marathon PB was from that race, but it measures like 23. I think it's like a 23K race, but according to Strava, he went through the half marathon in like 96 minutes and ran 3 hours 30 at the recent Melbourne Marathon. So looked into his Strava. He follows 20 people, which of those 20 includes Brady, Brett Robinson and Jack Rayner. But unfortunately, the Big Moose did not make the cut, which I found surprising given that you are the king of the Great Ocean Road. I thought you may have got a follow.
Nah, mate, this bloke started running in 2020, I can tell. He hasn't actually seen the real big dogs in action. He's just seen the COVID warriors come out.
I wonder how Brady made the cut.
Probably from Melbourne this year.
Yeah,
probably. He still floats around there. And, yeah, I actually looked at this. I'm like, I recognise that name. And I looked at his Instagram. He's friends with some people that I'm friends with. And also, I reckon he may have a connection to Ballarat. So I'm fairly dirty on this, actually.
Well, I think the last time we called somebody out for not following you, they started following you, didn't they?
Yes, they did. So, Ainsley, look, to be honest, I thought it was a girl, and that's why I looked at her Instagram, but it's actually a boy's name.
Yeah, it is. Yeah. All right, running news. There's not a lot on this time of year, so there's only really 3 bits that I could find. One of the races was the one that Kristian did. So, Kristian, do you want to talk us through what happened there in Barcelona?
I have seen the race afterward on YouTube, and sometimes, to be honest, I think that some things we can see on the running scene, especially on the road races, is too good to be true. But anyway, the Ethiopian guy, he ran 12. I don't know what the time in the end got, if it was 12:50 or was for 12:49, but it was completely nonsense. Going out in a crazy pace, running completely alone, and broke the world record. Of course, the course was good, but some guys, they have an unreal talent, and the frequency they are able to run in. Also, if you go on YouTube and watch the race, it's looking like he's sprinting the whole distance. And the girl was also breaking the world record. The Taye girl from Ethiopia, I think she got 14:19, but she had a big pack.
What's her first name?
Ejegayehu or something. I'm not really good in Ethiopian. The names are the hardest one. But the girl had for me, what we can see in the future is girls will for sure break 14 minutes on the track. They will break 29 for the track. And maybe we'll see in the future some girls running closer to 40 minutes flat on the road. But the women record now had to go down, and it will still go down. How long we just have to wait and see if Sifan Hassan or the other girl from Ethiopia will give it a go. Then the record will be taken forever. But the races were good, and it's something about races at the New Year's Eve. The race in Madrid, the San Silvestre 10K, is similar to this. It's a bigger race, but people go there for racing, and then they have a good party afterwards. So it's good that we can find races these days.
Yeah. So I think that, I'm not sure if you mentioned the guy's name, but it was Aregawi from Ethiopia. Yeah, ran 12:49. Moose, do you want to take us to that Madrid race that Kristian just mentioned?
Yeah, so this was a little deeper. But what I noticed in that Barcelona 5K is that it drops it down pretty quick. It's like they've paid all the money for these two real big dogs and Kristian to show up, and there's no money left for anybody else. Yeah,
so it was 12:49 in the men's for first, 13:30 for second, and 13:37 for third. And in the women's, it was 14:19 for first, 15:04, and then 15:51. Yeah, so not real deep.
But then in this race, we got Degitu Azimeraw from Ethiopia. That's a lady's name. She ran 30:26 to beat out Edina Jebetok from Kenya, 30:44, and Lona Salpeta, that's your mate, Kristian, 31:14.
So she was the one in the marathon at the Olympics that was right up in that lead pack for quite a while, wasn't she? Salpeta?
Yeah, she was Salpeta. She was the girl running 2:17 and winning in Tokyo also. So this was, she's no part of the NN team, so she had to go for this race. But this race was just the start of the training period. The day after, she went directly to Kenya, and she would stay there until Nagoya Marathon, the big one in Japan with all the money, the women only. So all eyes is on the prize and the money in Japan. And I don't know how well Lona was prepared. I have her training diary in the Garmin Connect, and she have taken some time off.
Well, 31:14 is not bad, but it's not probably where a 2:17 runner could be at.
I think her PB is like 30:08 or something.
Yeah.
She broke the world record one time in the Netherlands, but was no doping control, so the record got not cleared. But the talent for that girl is amazing, and she can easily win in Nagoya. She will run fast for sure, and she is a better marathon runner as well.
Well, in the men's, a name that we've seen around the traps a fair bit, Mohamad Katir. He was the Spaniard that came out of the woodwork this year and ran a lot of fast times, won a lot of races. But he won this race 27:45, 10 seconds in front of Quizera, and then Nassim Hassaus was third, 28:05. So Katir's still getting around the circuit, Kristian?
Yeah, I mean, let's have a minute with Katir. That guy he had before this season, and I mean, we guys we know a lot about sport, and to be honest, I had never heard about Katir before they had the European Indoor in February, and his PB before this season was 3:36, 7:44, 13:50, and 28:58. So you can imagine he has gone from 13:50 to 12:50 in one season, and from 7:44 to 7:27 is and 3:36. How many guys? What do Luke Matthews? He have 3:36, 3:38 or something. Imagine him running 3:28 next season.
Can't imagine it.
No, so this guy is a Spanish guy. I think he have some kind of connection to Morocco, and he's pretty much living in the altitude in Sierra Nevada. It's like 2-hour drive up the mountain, and he's pretty much living there and training everything on the treadmill and outside on the track. And yeah, the results this year have been unbelievable. If we take away Jakob and Stewy, if those two guys wouldn't be around, this will be the only guy that can compete with Africans.
So what do you think he's done so well to get this good so quickly? What sort of things is he doing, Kristian?
I mean, I don't want to say that everybody that have an insane progression is using drugs, but we can never take drugs out of the consideration. It doesn't matter where you are from, and the history of Moroccan people is not very good. So, but he have got a lot of tests this year, and he's still clean. So we need to believe him, but. He was coming from a football career, not a career, but he tried to be a good football player. So he didn't have a lot of running in the bank because before he started to run. But the steps he have taken the last 12 months is really amazing. It's very, very hard to think that he can drop down a lot more. I mean, 7:27 for the 3K. It's not many people in the world that have broken 7:30 for the 3K. And for me, he was one of the favorites going into Olympics. He was not running the 15. He was going for the 5K. And he didn't perform his best at the Olympic. But this guy, yeah, he can maybe be the man to beat the next season. We just hope that this guy is clean.
He cost me a bit of money at the Olympics. I had him to win the 5K. So
yeah, that's karma right there. That is dirty karma.
Yeah, it's also something about the way he's running. He's running. The way he's taking the position in the races, the way he's finishing. He's a smart guy, and he can really race. And yeah. The 7:27 race was unbelievable. So Katir maybe be the man to beat for next season, and for the 5K in the World Championships, maybe he will be a hard case. And for the European Championship, usually Jakob have had a easy win. The last time in the 5K he was pretty much just jogging alone to the finish line. To beat Katir will not be easy.
Yeah.
The only other bit of news involves Stewy. Stewy went down to Tassie and did a few of those Christmas Carnival handicap races. So in Devonport, he ran 3:59.58 on the grass to finish 11th, just handicapped out of it. It was one in 3:51. And then in Burnie, I watched both of these actually, and nobody has ever broken 4 minutes in Burnie off scratch. He ran 4 minutes 0.41 to finish 18th, and the winner ran 3:50.8. So it's a tough gig for Stewy. When these races are being won in 3:51, to do that on the grass is pretty much impossible, especially when he has to run out in lane 4 a lot of the race going around people. But I think these sort of races suits Stewy because it's sort of the way that he races anyway. He just goes as hard as he can from the start to the gun. So, but that's pretty much the running news for the week.
I saw the race, to be honest, Crooks, and it's amazing to see a guy that's like Stewy that is doing races like that. It's something about the sport. It's something about the reputation of a guy like Stewy. In Norway now, it's two guys that is getting the interviews after the Diamond League. First is Jakob, and the second one is Stewy. People in Norway, they cheer so hard for Stewy. The way he's racing, the way he's taking it out, he's like... Yeah, he's a big favorite among Norwegian people. I mean, of course, we want Jakob and the other guys to beat him, but in the end, we are so happy to have him in the sport. And also the way he's talking on the interview with the Norwegian broadcast, he's giving so much about, giving away so much about himself. He's in it for winning. I have my kind of way to run, and I will stick to the plan. And yeah, Stewy is one of the big guys in the sport, and we really need people like him. We need people that can, show the belief and try to go against Africans. So I hope all the best for Stewy, and if Jakob can win, I really hope that Stewy will finish second.
Yeah, I think it's good that Stewy does these events, because there's probably like 40 people in the event, and there was one guy there. It looked pretty old, and he had like a 450-metre head start, but that would have made their day, like having Stewy on the same track as them and him going past them. Like that'd be a bit of a buzz, I'd imagine. So, all right, we'll move on to listener question. Sydney sent into our Instagram the other day about he mentioned that there's been these hypotheticals about a distance medley relay team, Norway versus Kenya. And he just wanted to get our thoughts on, a hypothetical team for Australia, because he thought it would make a good discussion, which I agree with. And I went a little bit further and actually looked up how the USA and the UK would also go based on times that people ran through 2021. And so for those that don't know, a distance medley relay is made up of a 400 metre, an 800 metre, a 1200 and a 1600. And boys, on the agenda here, I've pretty much added up the times, and isn't that so? That's 4K's worth of running, and Norway, Kenya, Australia, USA, and UK are split by like 3 seconds.
So when did Henrik run 3:31?
So that's So I'll explain. So with the Norway and the Kenya one, I got those splits off the poster that they'd made. For Norway at the moment, and I think this event really comes down to your depth as well. So I think, Kristian, you'd agree that Norway at the moment wouldn't be in a very good position against, Australia, for example, because, there's probably not that much, you take out the 3 Ingebrigtsens, and I believe Henrik's sort of just coming back from injury. They're probably not going to be super competitive, but you look at somebody like the US and, they can replace the 400 metre with heaps of people, the 800 with probably quite a few. What do you think?
The first thing I can say that we can put up a little bit better team than this. We have a new guy for the 800 called Tobias Granstad. He is really good. He will probably run 145 something, but he is not the same quality as Peter Bohr. And Henrik's race of 3:31, Julian, is pretty much like Ryan Gregson. Yeah. This is this will not happen again. Henrik will come back to the sport, but for me, that he can compete in the 1500 meter is, if he can do that, I will be really, really surprised. For me, he will be a 5K runner, and maybe he will move up to the 10K. So if we can put the best team, the Warholm for the 400 meter flat is probably also a little bit better than 44.87, but Jakob and Philip have to be in the team, but maybe we can do some small changes in the 800 meter, but we will still be a little bit you guys in Australia will still beat us. And when you are talking about consistency, we have to realize that in Norway is around 5.5 million people running. The way we are seeing running now is something else than never before. Now we have a lot of 15-year-old guys that can be good in cross-country skiing, that are moving moving in the running direction. So hopefully we can do something with the depth in the future. But at the moment we have one family and 2-3 other guys. The rest is just pray for something coming up.
So the Australian team we've got on paper here is like Steve Solomon, Ollie Horse, Stewy and Peter Boll. But then I guess a couple of guys that sort of could be brought in would be like Jai Edwards and Charlie Hunter as well. I would love to see this event like happen somewhere. Just because I reckon previous years it wouldn't have been very exciting. There would have been maybe the US and Kenya, and that's it. But you can genuinely you would have like at least Kenya, Australia, US, and UK like pretty close for the majority of the race. So. It's just like where could they actually make this event happen though? I guess they have the World Relays, but they don't have a distance medley relay at the World Relay Champs, I don't think.
Don't they? Yeah, they used to.
No, do they? I don't know.
I reckon they used to.
Okay, yeah, but
didn't Jeff Risley and that do his?
Oh, maybe that was. Was that over in the US? Was that at like Penn Relays?
Oh, maybe it was. Yeah. Australia used to have a team that ran there.
Yeah, that's right. So they do it there, but so for those listeners, like USA had the quickest time, and their team would have been made up of Randolph Ross, Cole Hocker, Centro, and Clayton Murphy. So anyway, bit of fun there. Moose on the loose, purchase of the week.
Moose on the loose. I thought I would talk about the Strava comments and how when someone has quite a good conversation, but it's not in English.
That's good.
And so no one, like the main population of the world, can't actually understand what these people are talking about. And they always seem to be really intense as well. And because like Norwegian people, they don't have very funny jokes. So they're always very serious. And I reckon there would be some good conversations that I could potentially read. And a lot of it could be about training, but they have this weird Viking language that we can't understand.
Good, that's a fair point. There have been times when I've been on Kristian Strava and I'm like, I wonder what they're talking about here. Like it could be after a session because we saw at the first part of the show, like Kristian's knowledge on the sport, even though he hasn't been in it that long, like he's been around guys that are at top of the world, so he knows his stuff. So it would be good to actually, hear. I'll be able to read it in English.
The term is groupie. That is
groupie, yeah. Which I also think watching the team Ingebrigtsen document, like because I've heard all of them, like they speak really really good English, and so like that in English would have been like so good because just about everybody in the world then would have been able to hear what they're actually saying rather than having to read the subtitles, which were maybe not they're not completely accurate at times.
Yep. Yeah, agreed.
Thoughts, Kristian?
I mean, I remember one day when I went back to writing all my stuff in Norwegian, you had a big, you made it clear that you need to come back to English. So, I mean, I tried to put up everything on my own in English. But the thing, if people are asking you a question in Norwegian and you are talking back to Norwegian people and you start talking English, then you are in the superstar moment. I mean, it is what it is, and Norwegian is not for a lot of people. But for the Ingebrigtsen show, I tell you that if those guys had that show in English, you will lose a lot of the dynamic, and you will lose a lot of the situation when Gjert and Henrik is talking really aggressive to each other also. If that was in English, it will be very hard and it will probably be staged. So when you want the real stuff, you need to have it in the language people are speaking. If not, it's more like it's creating. And one thing is to talk English in like an interview or something. Another thing is to talk English with a friend that can speak your normal language.
So what, like you guys can't speak aggressively in English? Like you don't call people dickheads?
Yeah, I mean we can, but the vocabulary is not the best. You're not feeling like this is the way to do stuff, and I mean everything's in the end. All people in the world should speak the same language. The question is just which kind of language, and we should all have the same currency. And but it's a long way to go, and maybe we should try to level up on Strava since it's for other people. But for the most of the Norwegian guys on Strava, they only have Norwegian followers. So if you write English, you look like a completely stupid. So I don't know.
Not you, Star.
Yeah.
I only write in English because Croker told me to.
Well, see, but if people write questions to you in Norwegian and you respond in English, like that will become a trend, and so people will then start asking you questions in English.
So you mean we have to try that from this year, 2022? I reply everything in English.
Give it a go. I would love to see somebody write to you in Norwegian and then you respond in English. Tag me in the next time you do that.
Yeah, but to be honest, the most people that are writing to me on Strava is people asking, just very simple questions, and some of them are having a go at me, because what Moose is saying is pretty much what people in Norway are saying. I mean, I have the life of a 2:10 or a 2:05 guy, and I'm running 2:22 or 2:21. So it's a lot of people that are telling me that I'm running slow.
You're doing all right. What's coming up, Moose? You're racing on Friday?
Friday, yeah. Back to work tomorrow. Back in the store. All the public holidays are done. We're kicking off again.
Yeah. And Kristian, you're off to Valencia, and then after Valencia, heading back home?
Yeah, I have a plane ticket home Sunday, but I don't know what will happen, to be honest. Maybe I'll go to Kenya for 3-4 weeks and then go directly to Seville. I don't know. Are
you a little bit like with your Seville build-up? Because after you race Valencia, that's going to be 6 weeks before Seville, and like you haven't really been doing a lot of marathon stuff over the last month, so it leaves it's a pretty short build then.
Yeah, but I pretty much had a small build-up before this, because I was pacing one Swedish girl in Valencia, but she pulled off, so I only went 1 hour 30 there. But I had a build-up before that. I did a lot of, and what I can see with my own training is that coming back to marathon training and the training that suits me is not it's not taking a long time. If I can have 3-4 weeks of solid marathon training, then I'm ready. Yeah. If the period is too long, I'm getting drained. And the other stuff is that the only problem for me is the threshold pace. I need to be able to run a half marathon closer to 67:30 as a minimum, because the problem is not the distance for me. I can run. It's no problem for me to go out next Sunday and run 40 kilometers in 3:30 average. I can do that. The problem is the speed. The gap from the half marathon to the marathon pace, the gap is too small. So I need to do something around the threshold area. And what I saw in the past is also that with the new shoes and also with my background, I don't need that many weeks.
Yeah, very good. Well, all the best with it. What else is coming up? We've got episode 1 of either the road to somewhere or the long and the short of it. We're recording that on Wednesday with Jess Stenson, Louis McAfee, and Luke Matthews. So that'll be over on Patreon. Hobart Cadbury Running Festival is happening this weekend, and there's also the Stromlo 5K, which they held last year out at the Criterium course. So that's our show. Kristian, thank you so much for giving up your time. I really appreciate it. You've been a great supporter of the show, and I'm sure the listeners will follow your journey to Valencia and then Seville and wherever you decide to run next. So thank you.
Yeah. Thanks, and it's been a pleasure. Hopefully one day the world can come back to reality, and maybe we can go again. We need one last go in Berlin, all of us.
Yeah, we'll be there. I'm only 35. I don't know about you, old fuckers. I've got 4 more goes at it.
You got plenty of time, Moose.
I'm the same as you, Julian.
Yeah, you got time. Well, you
We're
haven't
the same
even.
age.
You haven't had a crack yet. Croker, he's done.
I'm done.
Oh, no.
I was 37. I was 37 and a half when I ran my PB, marathon PB.
Ooh. Okay.
Yeah.
Oof. Many years to come, Julian.
Yeah,
Just
we're good.
Keep rocking up and keep doing the normal stuff.
Right, that's not that inspirational, Kristian.
No.
No, I heard you and Luke the last week. I was really laughing.
Oh, okay, I gotcha, yeah. Funnily enough, he had COVID when we were recording that.
Yeah. So, all right, boys. Thanks again. Have a good week. Good luck, Moose. Good luck, Kristian. And we'll chat to everybody next week.
See ya.
Bye.
Yeah.